a lot of people who want to share mindfulness will tell me that they have this uncertainty and fear of diluting it or not teaching with integrity. A lot of people who want to teach mindfulness want to kind of blend it with their own faith, with hypnotherapy, with sports, because movement has been so valuable to them. And, you know, I think in like traditional circles, including Buddhist circles, you know, there is this pressure to teach mindfulness alongside the Eightfold Path, Four Noble Truths, stages of awakening. And so there are a lot of people out there wondering how they can share these principles of this non-judgmental moment-to-moment awareness alongside other teachings. You know, a lot of people teaching yoga and Reiki and massage and acupuncture and all sorts of, you know, journaling. Like, how can I bring mindfulness to all these different modalities? But there's a lot of fear around doing so. And I don't know that there's a question in here, but I do encourage people to, you know, be steeped in what mindfulness is, first of all, and really practice and have that dedication to the practice of opening to our moment-to-moment experience without judgment, and really opening to discomfort and also joy, and really learning how to be with our experience without reacting. So that then you can apply those principles to life and to your teachings, and blend it with other modalities and, you know, other traditions and other faiths and wisdom. So I think this topic of finding your own voice is encouraging for people to blend it with their own passions and their own missions to help the people who they really want to serve, and to stand up, you know, and allow themselves to be pulled towards their vision of whatever their cause is. So,
yeah, and I understand both sides of that, like the Pure Land model, you know, and I think you're right. I think as long as people just say what it is that you want to teach too, clarifying. Like, I would never have this as a mindfulness class and then spring on the Dharma of Harriet Tubman. Like, no, this class is going to be merging these, right? So there's also knowing your voice and knowing the clarity that you're providing. So if you are going to teach a mindfulness course on the mindfulness of yogic breathing, you really have that outlined. You really say that this is going to be a blend of this and this. And then also being able to always honor the mindfulness tradition. I think it's really like honoring it fully and saying, and you might want to go more into the Eightfold Path or understand the roots of the Dharma more. And maybe this is an introduction to that, right? I'm going to give you a taste of it while we're doing this breath and movement. And then here's your next step, because we do want people to be with the mindfulness movement to go deep into it in ourselves and others. So I see it more now. I'm always referencing in any course I do that's blending, rather it's my Peru retreat. Okay, your next step is to go sit a few Vipassana retreats, right? And they're like, yeah, it leads effortlessly into that, you know. So the intro is like, it's just like creating a wider lane, but just make sure that you're really paying homage to the tradition, that the history of the mindfulness and the Buddhist tradition it comes out of. You got to know that. And you just respect that and know that, okay, I'm not going to teach all of that, name that. Like, you know, I can't teach the whole foundation, but it's really important that this resonates, that you learn that part. This comes from a tradition that is vast and profound, right? And so I feel like if teachers, what happens is they don't do that, and then it gets all muddled down. People go to something and it's like, this is like a blend of all these things, and they're not really saying what mindfulness is. And it, you know, and that's the danger, that everyone's being a mindfulness teacher, right? And you're going to just have that, because that's how the Western culture is. It just appropriates and runs with anything. You know, someone does a one day anything, they're an expert in their mind, and they put it on as a teacher of it. I think that's just how, there's a lot of bad dharma mindfulness classes out there, and we just got to trust that that's just how it is, you know, and the greater good of the widening the lane, you know, is what we're looking for. And there's always going to be delusion. We're swimming in it, you know, and so, okay, but there's enough good information, I feel like, Sean, out there on mindfulness, like so much, and teachers really holding that down, and institutions holding that space, that and the constant clarification. I remember Joseph Goldstein, that very issue is what led him to write the book on mindfulness. Like, here's the Bible. Okay, you guys can go left and right, but here, just so you know, right? And then everyone was like, oh my God. And it's like, what is it, like 500 pages? So there are teachers that will keep clarifying the lane again, right? You know, and we just got to kind of trust that this is the Western psyche. This is what it does to everything. Yoga, food, cultures, you know, it just chews it up and goes wide and innovates with it. So, but I really hear you on that. So I'm very specific when I'm teaching with the blend and when I'm not. And just very clear. That's part of being a good teacher, is to have that clarity of what it is you're teaching, the content, why, and what's left out and what you're adding in. And then let the audience and your students understand, so that they can have clear information. So
yeah. It's not about teaching people to enlightenment, you know, in 2 hours. Here are some fundamental, you know, introductory teachings and
right, and practices that you can try, and then they evolve. And I'm always very realistic with that, you know, with what it is I'm teaching, and then you know, that's the whole thing. If there's an art to being a teacher, to communicating truth and wisdom on the highest level, we're learning that. I'm growing in that all the time, and to always be clarifying, you know, having that clarity. And that's just the dance, isn't it, Sean? You know, that is just a teacher too. Like, you know, we just become a clearer channel of information, you know, like, okay, this is what it is, this is what it's not, you know, so we're learning that.